Welcome to Real Estate Profits with Purpose. I'm your host, Ian Boshoff, and I'm here with Jessica Couch and Jason Schumacher. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. Well, I'm doing great, and I just wanted to touch base with everyone to give everyone a background on who we are and what we do. Our mortgage and real estate brokerage provides a streamlined white glove service approach with each client, ranging from first-time home buyers, homeowners, and real estate investors emerging onto the housing market. And when you work with us, we donate 10% of our profits to Sweet Dreams Foundation and Operation Underground Railroad. The movie Sound of Freedom, if you haven't heard it, folks, great movie. Go see it if you haven't. So thank you for those that listen to the show, and be sure to give us a call or text to 916-872-7177 or log on to promortgagerealty.com if you'd like to be a part of the cause or have any questions. So I just wanted to get into the background of everyone. Jessica Couch, she is one of the best agents I've ever seen in the 25 years of doing business. Jessica, can you give us your background and tell us a little bit about yourself?
I got licensed in 99, bought my first house, loved the process, loved having everything in-house. It was mortgage and realty all together in one. I got my license, and I love helping first-time buyers. I'm an aggressive agent. I take that as a compliment. People are like, you're aggressive. I'm like, dang right, get in the car. We go out and shop, and that's really what I love doing, getting people into contract.
Let's go. She'll wake up in the morning and say, I need to get two in contract
yes.
or I'm going to kill myself. and it happens.
Ian's telling my secrets.
Still alive, though. Still alive, so we're good.
It's the weirdest thing, though. Like, she'll say, I need to get in contract today, and she'll go get in contract today. And
it's the mantra.
Yeah.
It's the mantra.
Yeah, and if there's anyone that is ever having issues getting in contract, you need to text 916-872-7177. I'll connect you with Jessica Couch. And on to the other aspect, we have another amazing real estate agent. He's a part of the Shepherd Group, which came on to Pro Realty. They service the Sacramento surrounding areas and Roseville, Rockland, Granite Bay, El Dorado Hills, just like our company does. And Jason, can you give us a little bit about background on you and how you got in the business?
Absolutely. I became licensed back in 2008. I was a server for a high-end restaurant, the Ritz-Carlton. And it's funny because one of our...
I like Ritz.
Yeah, well, and one of our credos here is white glove service, and a fully understanding of that. I mainly got into it to actually rehab houses. I did it as an education. And so from then till now, between rehabbing houses and helping clients in multiple markets, that's how I've provided for me and my family.
Awesome. You just jumped in. Sir, here's your glass of wine, and no, we need 3 pallets of tile. That's crazy. That's
and hurry
awesome.
up, because we have project timelines. So
that's awesome. That's I have a friend who was a bartender at Woody's on the wharf in Newport Beach, and he had bartended there for 15 years, and he is now retired because he got into real estate.
Mm-hmm.
He bought 5 properties, and one in San Clemente, one in Costa Mesa, one in Escondido. He turned them all, did 1031 exchanges, turned them all. He bought an Airbnb property in Florida in one of the Keys houses, you know. He also bought a 5-bedroom house in Costa Rica. He now lives in Costa Rica.
Wow.
And he doesn't work. He just lives off rental income.
Dodging the taxes. Absolutely.
Costa
Rica, Puerto Rico.
I mean, sharp guy, though. I mean, he's just one of those guys that stacked his cash and bought when the time was right and did it. So if you are listening to the show, you're thinking about investing into some real estate, or you haven't invested into real estate, be sure you listen to Real Estate Profits on YouTube, and you can find us, Real Estate Profits with Purpose. You'll be able to tap into our past shows, and we're really here to help, and we have a purpose behind it. So getting into our show today, we're talking about, should you buy a new or a used home, or even a flipped rehab home? And this is kind of a big question because there's a big, huge boom out in our area in Northern California. And let alone in Southern California, there's just a huge boom of building. And so we're seeing, I think there was like 4,000 to 5,000 homes being built in the Placer County area. And you may have statistics that may say differently, but that's from what I read a while back. But this is a big buzz. And now some people go, oh, well, everyone loves the new, right? And so I want to get into some questions here about what are the good things about new construction that you've seen? And I'll start with you, Jessica. What are you saying, and why is it so hot?
I would say new or even newer. We just closed another borrower of ours that closed a house that was built in 2021. So almost brand new, and it had solar. And we looked at several other homes, and given the square footage and the size and the great location of the properties, that ended up being the best buy. Almost new. It wasn't brand new, but because of the solar, it was a better purchase than everything else in comparison to a $400 PG&E bill or $30 with solar. So even though we had Melrose and we have, there's actually an additional cost there with HOA as well. It's still, the payment was better at this particular property for that reason. So solar played a really big role in that. And I send videos out constantly about this on social media with don't overlook the solar. That's $400 or $500 a month is a pretty big bill.
I think
Especially these days.
Yeah.
Especially these days.
Yeah, I think you just wanted a place to park your car because you got a Tesla.
Solar is handy.
Can I
Solar
stop
is
by
handy.
for some pie real quick? Charge my car. But no, that's awesome. So what do you think the bills are? And I don't have solar. So what are the bills versus, what someone would pay for utility in that?
The majority of what I'm seeing is they're a PPA. It's a lease. Sunrun's one of the big ones, and it's $30 a month, $30 to $60 a month versus, $400 to $600 depending on the house size.
Got it.
And that's not something I'm finding that I always have readily available from the agents, right? That I just don't get that information right away as to what the bills are, or if there's been inspection reports where with the new home, I have a 10-year fit and finish. This house, I was actually just a year old. It was just over a year old. So we had not only the builder's fit and finish for 10 years, but we had just had the builder come through and update anything that was on their punch list.
Yeah.
So it really ruled out the need to check, old plumbing and all the things that we would walk into with an older home.
Right. There's a lot of going on in the house.
Yeah.
Well, how about you, Jason? Have you seen what's some good things that you've seen on new construction? Name a couple if you can.
Well, one of the problems California has is we don't have nearly enough supply. So even though there's a boom, a lot of these prices still get stabilized out because there's still such a demand and lack of housing. So it's a good thing that we do have new houses coming in. The area that you have your new house matters a lot when it comes to electricity, say.
Right.
If you're in Roseville has its own power electric company, so the solar panels don't count as much. In other areas where you have PG&E or SMUD or anything like that, it counts for an awful lot.
Right.
And so that will often override the Melrose and stuff like that. But, the other things you get is you'll get warranties on the homes. 10-year on structural, and then, less for various other systems. But yeah, I mean, it's like any product. It has to fit you and your family.
Yeah.
So
that builder warranty is key, and it's also required by FHA and some of these other VA as well. There's a 10-year builder warranty on the home. So we actually used it. I bought a new spec home. It wasn't a track house, but it was a spec, and the shower tile was deteriorating on the edges, and we reached out to the builder. We got it fixed and didn't have to pay for it.
Sweet.
So that's a key element there. With new construction, the biggest thing that I noticed, you get that solar energy efficient, right? Now the other good things that I've seen, because I'm always looking, I'm like a stalker for real estate. It's scary. Like I'll go at night with a flashlight, check floor plans.
Just know what's going on. That's all.
So
good.
But the floor plans, they're a little bit different because in the what was it, the late 2000, like the 2010 era, 2012, there's always that entry room with that weird living room on the right-hand side every time, or on the left-hand side. Like no one knows what to do with that room. Yep. And some people make it in a dining room. Some people make it into like some room you never sit in. But the new floor plans on these new constructions, they have that open concept. Yes. And so tell me a little bit about what you guys seen, Jessica, on, there's that multi-family gen kind of housing.
Love those.
One living room. Tell me about that, versus how the older homes are.
Oh, I love the multi-generational. I mean, you're going to a higher price point, of course, but I think we are going to be in a time for some time here where that is going to continue to be a thing, where we're seeing families, stay with their parents longer. A parents come back and stay with the children. So we're seeing a lot more of that.
Yeah.
The other floor plan that I notice that comes up all the time is having the second living room upstairs and a bedroom and a full bathroom downstairs. That's going to work for your nanny. It's going to work for parents that are older. So I'm seeing that floor plan come in more often.
Yeah.
You guys have something coming up that's multi-gen, don't you?
I believe Tony does.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe he's got something new coming in.
Tony's the head of the Shepherd Group, so
Yep.
he's going to come one day to the show.
100%. But no, the big thing is I'm dealing with this with two sets of parents right now. My personal mother, she's able to stay in her house right now, but that is quickly declining. And then I'm dealing with that with my grandma-in-law and mother-in-law.
Oh, wow.
And so we actually just had to put her in a home over here by Lifetime. But her mom is also having issues, and we're looking at putting her in our downstairs full room.
Mm-hmm.
And so the intergenerational separate living space, so key right now, because there's so many that are like me where we're sandwiched.
Right.
We have a young family, and we're taking care of our older parents.
Right.
And
that's a good word for it. You're sandwiched.
We're
I bet
sandwiched.
there's some other people that
Jason's
are
a
sandwiched.
sandwich.
Yeah.
I like it.
The ham of the sandwich, but yeah, sandwich. But yeah, it's great because the homes, though they're wonderful and all that, very pricey.
Right.
So even though, say, the new home with the multi-generational is a little bit higher, compare that to paying a separate cost
compare
for
it to
the
two
home.
mortgages. Right. You're better off going at the $1 million and having one set home.
Yeah.
One energy bill with solar, all of the, and then your care is within home as well.
Yes.
You're there.
Yeah, and you're able to either provide that care yourself or hire in people.
Sure.
They're still way cheaper than
You're going to
putting them
offset
in a
that
home.
cost. Yeah. Really good point.
If you can afford it, because rates are through the freaking roof, right? I mean,
Right.
they're double. They're double. We're at a 22-year high right now. So if just looking at like a $970,000 house, 4 bedrooms or 5 bedrooms with an optional fifth, the payment with the temporary buy down, and we'll get into that in our next segment, but the payment's like $6,500 with 10% down a month, and so that's a chunk of change.
But you know what the care home is?
How much is that?
$8,500, and that's low, by the way.
Wow.
Because she doesn't need as help as some of her roommates.
And how's she paying for that care? Is that through retirement? Or?
Through a house we're about to sell that she's owned for 40 years.
Got it.
In the Bay Area.
Got it. So that's a smarter play. Buying a bigger home and cohabitating with family.
Oh,
wait.
far.
Do you have a home that's been owned by the same person for 40 years in the Bay Area? That sounds like something an investor might want to get in on. What's your number, Jason?
That's definitely. There's more to come on our next segment. We're going to continue on why you should buy a new home or why you should buy a used home. Coming up, here's a brain crusher question for everyone out there. How much more does a new construction home cost than an existing, percentage-wise? We'll be back after this.
Sweet Dreams Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to glorify God by spreading peace, hope, and love to families with medically fragile babies and children. They offer dream bedrooms to children battling life-threatening illnesses, and their Ruse Baby program creates an atmosphere that will lift the spirit of the child, where they can laugh, play, and let their inner light shine. To learn more about the Sweet Dreams Foundation, visit sweet-dreams.org. When you work with Pro Mortgage and Realty, you're supporting the Sweet Dreams Foundation. Partner with Pro Mortgage and Realty today to buy or sell a home and help support the Sweet Dreams Foundation to help more children in our communities. Call or text Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty today at 916-532-8916. That's 916-532-8916, or visit promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 351319 and DRE number 01745667.
If you or a family member are in the process of buying a home, then you'll want to hear this. Pro Mortgage and Realty has streamlined the home buying process, providing you with mortgage pre-approval and a top-performing real estate agent all under one roof. And if you call or text within the next 10 minutes to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, they will cover your closing costs. Pro Mortgage and Realty makes it easy. They will negotiate the best deals and save you thousands by using one company. From down payment assistance programs, DSCR loans, FHA and VA loans, and more. They cover all aspects of mortgage and real estate, from finding you the right finance programs to finding you the right home. Work with a company that can be with you throughout the whole home buying process. Call 916-872-7177 or visit ProMortgageRealty.com for more information. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 315319 and DRE number 017-45667.
Welcome to Real Estate Profits. I'm your host, Ian Boshoff, and here with Jessica Couch and Jason Schumacher. We are talking about whether to buy a new construction versus an existing home. And just on our last segment, we were talking about kind of some of the pros about the floor plans, the solar, and how these families are kind of cohabitating. And we want to touch base with that. But first, I'd like to answer a question that we had earlier as to what percentage of new construction, how much more does a new construction home cost than an existing percentage-wise? And does anyone want to take a guess? Just
11%.
11%. We got 11%.
Yeah, I was gonna guess 10 because I've got a lot of numbers.
Well, see, your numbers don't match up to what the news article said, but that makes me look just stupid.
No, I think this is an average, and I'm looking at.
That's true. It's an area, though,
Yeah.
too. It's an area.
True.
But what the article says, not what I say, but what U.S. News has said, and this is U.S. News.
Nationwide.
This may be
Nationwide,
different in
you're
a
right,
different. Now, this is national average, right? This
Yeah.
isn't
Be different.
California or whatever.
That's the
or
advantage of a
Ohio.
realtor.
Right.
You get local information.
Yes, thank you for making me feel better about what I'm about to say. But it is 32% higher
that makes
is
sense.
what
Wow.
it says.
That
Wow.
makes sense.
32%. So new homes are almost always going to cost more than the existing home, especially if you're choosing a custom-built home. According to the National Association of Realtors, existing home sales in the area, average sales price of an existing home in September is $391,000, which, again, not California.
Right.
So it says here, new houses on the other end averaged $517,000 in September 2022, according to the Federal Reserve in St. Louis. That makes the average new home 32% more expensive. So I don't know what to say.
Interesting numbers, yeah.
Interesting it is. But I know, Jessica, you have some stuff to talk about that in a little bit. But if you have questions during the show or after the show, feel free to text to 916-872-7177 or go to ProMortgageRealty.com. I can't talk today for some reason. I'm like, okay. But anyway, with Jason, we were talking earlier about the cohabitating, right? And,
Sandwich.
and what these families are doing. They're buying the new construction, and some of the benefits of new construction is they have the multi-gen housing. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how you're doing it regarding of buying a new home. And your mom is much older. She can't live on her own. She lives in the Bay Area versus where we are. Tell us about that if you can.
Right. So, well, we're what I like to call one of the Bay Area refugees. And we came over here about 5 years ago because of the schools for my children. And
you are a refugee.
Yes. And schools a little bit better out here, the public schooling. And so when we came out here, I brought my mom. Now, we were able to buy 2 separate houses, which is nice. However, my wife's family stayed in the Bay Area. They're getting beyond where they need help now. And so what's going to end up happening, unfortunately, we did have to put the grandmother in a home. She needs too much more help than we can provide. However, her mom is going to end up selling and then coming over here, and she'll end up living with us in our house because the house we were able to buy versus the one we had in the Bay Area, so much larger that we have an extra almost master bedroom downstairs.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, what's going to end up happening is we're going to need to sell their houses. And in selling their houses, a lot of times you can deal with investors, which there's always pros and cons. I'm an investor myself, so very familiar with those. However, since I am, since they are my parents and I'm dealing with that, we're actually teaming up with a lender because a lot of these people in the Bay, they've lived there for 40 years, but they're living on Social Security checks. Mm-hmm. So they don't really have enough money to say, get their house ready for sale. We work with a lender that actually will rehab the property and let you pay for that at close through the closing proceeds. Yeah. So you don't necessarily have to have the money. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're doing right now. We're going through the process. They've done a walkthrough through the home. We're going over the most cost efficient improvements that we can do to the property to present it the best of market.
Got it. So let me just clarify and cut this down to some bullet points. We have Pro Mortgage and Realty and the Shepherd Group. We partnered with a company, a lender, who will pay for all the improvements of the property, and they'll make it sellable. So you're going to get top dollar for this property. They won't charge you for anything. You can include, I think you can also include staging.
Yep.
You can include improvements of like a kitchen, bathrooms, landscaping, whatever. And they'll build that in as long as you have enough equity. And at the end, they tack on a little bit of premium for doing that. And it depends though. Like if you go to like a Bay Area home and there's a lot of margin, it's $1 million home, you're going to see a huge upswing on that.
I can give you the example we're using right now.
Would you? Yeah.
Yeah, the house, if I were to sell it as it is right now, hasn't been touched, lived in for 10 years, but has been owned for 40, no updates, nothing. Probably get around 1.8, 1.9 maybe. We're going to put roughly 150 into it, and we should get around 2.4.
Got it.
So even though we're paying
that's a big
150,
differential. Yeah,
it's quite a big swing.
right.
That's huge. So if you have questions about that, how do they get a hold of you, Jason?
Just with
Phone number?
650-291-1106.
Okay, that's 650-291-1106. Or you can log on to promortgagerealty.com for more information on that.
Yeah, that's really good info.
Yeah, that's great. So if you don't have the money to fix it, give us a call. Or log on to promortgagerealty.com. The other questions that I had, so we went over floor plan, we went over the new house feel. Now, we went over all the good things about a new construction. What about the bad? What do we got here? What's the bad thing about new construction, Jessica?
Smaller lot. You're going to have a smaller lot. They're almost always 2-level. So you don't have this big 1-level ranch that you can find in a 70s house that may have been flipped. Those are two of the biggest ones.
Because the lot is so small, they have to go up.
Right. We have to. That's just that's the life we're living.
And then another thing I notice is that I'm driving 10 or 15 minutes in the middle of a grassy field.
Very true. We're going further and this is like, I joke around all the time that it's like Fifel goes west. Like West Roseville has become further west. We just keep going west.
The hills have eyes.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh.
We are further west, but yeah, there's room to build. So you're just a little bit further away from amenities and services, and a lot of these options versus being right around the corner from what you know.
Yeah. Well, the home cost too, we touched on, but what about the closing cost and what are you seeing versus the closing costs on new construction? What I noticed when I was in escrow on one is that the builder doesn't pay for anything.
I am finding the builder they were not moving. Even on our last one, we did a multi-gen 1.4. They covered a small amount of closing costs. Whereas I was just speaking with one of our buyers about this on a regular resale where I've had a seller that's had their home in the market for 60 to 180 days, we have some real room for negotiation, covering closing costs, maybe price, a buy down, which we like to use on all of these.
Right.
The 1.4 that we sold was cash, and we got very little help with even closing costs at that. So the builder was really not able to budge, whereas a regular seller and a resale property, they will be.
And they don't want to bend on that price either.
Right. Oh, they were not bending on it.
The second they start going down, it'll change the trajectory of the next phase of
They'll
properties.
hit the whole development.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're going to stick to their guns, but they will give you those credits for the 2-1 buy downs. That's really hot. It'll lower your interest rate by 2% the first year, 1% the second. There's even a 3-2-1. It'll lower your interest rate by 3%. But man, that's a lot of money that they're crediting. So guess where they're going to take that money?
Right.
They're going to tack it on to the purchase price of your house.
Exactly.
So you're paying long-term property taxes on that, and new construction, you're probably averaging about 1.4%, would you say? 1.5?
Oh, with your equity position?
With like if you buy a new home versus a existing home with the Melrose integrated into the property
tax rate.
Yeah. Well, what are you thinking? About 1.4, 1.5?
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Okay. Well, so you don't have to pay the electric bill, but you do have to pay that tax. So
Well, and talking about taxes, don't forget supplemental.
Yeah.
Because that bad boy,
really good point,
you get
Jason. You
so
are
hard.
right. You are right. Yeah.
Supplemental, if those who don't know, is as property values go up, and after you buy that house, initially you're paying on that land tax.
Right.
You're not paying on the actual purchase price. So holy moly!
Because there wasn't a purchase price.
Yeah.
They developed it.
Yeah, they developed a piece of land, and it was assessed for $50,000. You're paying
Now
taxes on that
$1.4 million.
$50,000.
Right.
Yeah, that supplemental is going to be a monster, and what's going to happen is you're going to get a bill of like $10,000,
$11,000 easy, especially on something like that.
Right.
More.
And what do you do if you get that bill? You send that into your mortgage company, and they change your payment. So if you're structured on a payment, they're going to have to adjust it. So just be wary of that. One thing I want to touch on this, there's an article through Realtor.com. And it stood out for me. And these are reasons why you need an agent. Say, do you need a realtor for new construction?
Absolutely. Well, I could give you the reason why, but you'd have to call me for it. I'm not going to announce it here, but you can call me. You can text me. I'll tell you why.
How do they get a hold of you, Jessica?
916-532-8916.
Okay. Well, do you need a realtor for new construction? Here's everything you know. We'll talk about that right after this.
Hi, I'm Jessica Couch. When you're buying or selling your next home, work with an experienced team that knows the business, a local team that knows the market, and that has the skill set to take care of every single detail. We will get you top dollar if you're selling, and we'll help negotiate the best deal if you're buying, all without spending a dollar out of your own pocket. Work with Pro Mortgage and Realty. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we cover those out-of-pocket expenses like inspections, appraisal, and help with your closing costs. It's our commitment to make your next real estate transaction easy and stress-free as possible. We're not all about business. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we've developed deep roots in the community. We've partnered with local nonprofits, and we give back. Come work with the team that's got your back. Call or text today. Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty, 916-532-8916. Or visit us at promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros.
NMLS 351319, DRE 01745667.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
If you or a family member are in the process of buying a home, then you'll want to hear this. Pro Mortgage and Realty has streamlined the home buying process, providing you with mortgage pre-approval and a top-performing real estate agent all under one roof. And if you call or text within the next 10 minutes to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, they will cover your closing costs. Pro Mortgage and Realty makes it easy. They will negotiate the best deals and save you thousands by using one company. From down payment assistance programs, DSCR loans, FHA and VA loans, and more. They cover all aspects of mortgage and real estate, from finding you the right finance programs to finding you the right home. Work with a company that can be with you throughout the whole home buying process. Call 916-872-7177 or visit promortgagerealty.com for more information. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 315319 and DRE number 017456667.
Welcome back to Real Estate Profits with Purpose. I'm your host, Ian Boshoff, here with Jessica Couch, extraordinary realtor of the planet, and Jason Schumacher, other extraordinary realtor.
Rehabbing, we need an R word. Rehabbing rock star. That's going to be
rehabbing rock star. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've been talking about why you should, or whether or not you should buy a new construction or previously owned home. And before our break, we had a question: is should you have an agent for a new construction? And I know you think you're getting a better deal, and you don't have to, deal with agents and whatnot. But the reality is that when you work with a new construction builder, that agent works for the builder. Who is the builder? The builder is the seller. According to Realtor.com, they think you should use one. And Jessica, I know you know why. So why don't you tell us why?
I'll tell you why. There's going to be little negotiation, but you're going to pay the price. That 1.4, it's the price you're paying, period.
Yeah.
We cover your inspections, your appraisal. So on something like this, we don't have to cover the inspection cost, and I'm able to throw that back to help with your closing costs and offset that, your moving cost or whatever.
Got it.
Secondarily, we're in high contact, as I'm sure Jason is as well. I want to know where you are along the process, and when you do decide you're going to sell and go into something bigger, smaller, another location in 5 and 10 years, I'm that person that is right by your side. So the whole time we're looking at value, where you are, we're always ready for our next move, whatever that is. So you want somebody that's on your team, on your side from the beginning, that's giving something back.
Yeah, that's right. What about you? What do you think?
There's also, I mean, and I can't overstate this. You always need representation in any real estate transaction.
Good point.
Because the realtor is your fiduciary, has your fiduciary responsibility.
Yep.
They are there for you and only you, and in a financial manner.
Yeah.
So when you deal with someone, especially like a new home seller, they're there. They're going to happy talk you, but they're there for who pays their checks.
Yeah.
The builder pays their checks.
Right.
They're dealing with you and 50 other people. Their fiduciary responsibility is not you. It's their seller.
Really good
and so
point.
you need somebody that has you and your interest alone in that. And in fact, I've done a few dual agent deals, and what ends up happening with that is you end up losing fiduciary responsibility on both sides. You end up becoming a mediator. So you end up having to go, hey, listen, guys, just so you know, and we can do this. However, what's going to happen is I'm going to play the middle guy. I can't tell one about the other, and I can't be vicious to one about the other either. So you actually, when you lose your singular representation, it's actually really bad for the client.
And there's questions too that are important to ask. You know, like one builder will include all their improvements and all their finishes. The other builder will nickel and dime you till the cows come home. So you're going to pay 50 to 60 to 100,000 upgrades. Not to mention you got to dump about $100,000 in the backyard if you want.
That is a true statement.
And you get a piece of dirt and bark. So your $900,000 house just turned into $1 million, and you got to pay for that out of pocket. You can't finance it because you just put all your money down payment. Now you got to sit there, stare at dirt for a while. And so the biggest thing too is like you get sidelined with all these little nickel and dimes with finishes. Do you want this basic tile, or would you like the one that everyone else wants? And then they want you to put a deposit, and there needs to be ample explanation for that stuff.
Right.
You know, because you could go in this thinking everything's great. You put your earnest money deposit. There's one builder out there I know, $15,000 non-refundable. Wow. There's another builder, $5,000 fully refundable, but you're paying the piper on upgrades. And so there's always a catch, and you need strong representation that understands how these builders work and how these builders play ball.
Right.
So that's just one thing I can say. So don't go to a new construction site without an agent. If you don't have an agent, log on to promortgagerealty.com. We'll get you an agent. And
don't walk in there alone.
Exactly.
Do not walk in there alone.
And a part of that, by the way, activate your agent before you go in the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of times they want you to sign the first time. Even if you have been there and they try to give you the runaround that no, you can't bring in an agent, bring in an agent anyway, and there's a good chance they'll be able to break that nonsense.
You want to be represented. Absolutely. So now we've talked about the new. Let's talk about the old. And the old can include your favorite, Jessica, the flips, and your favorite, Jason,
100%.
the flips, and the rehab properties as well. So let's talk about the good about the old properties.
Oh, well, I can tell you there's one we're in contract in right now, and I pulled this. I don't know that you need the exact address on it, but I can tell you this home is completely flipped, like $100,000. They did it right. All the permits were pulled. I rarely see flips that are really done at this level.
Yeah.
Great work. Home is priced at $449. We're in contract at $449. Completely redone. It's 1,100 square feet. It's in Rancho Cordova. And then I pulled another home, not flipped at all whatsoever, dated. Nothing here has been redone at all, and it is the same square footage, also in Rancho Cordova, and it's listed at $439.
Wow.
A difference of $10,000, upgrades probably $100,000, and I'm seeing
Good night.
right? There's just not a huge differential between junk and a really nice remodel in price point. So hold out for what you really want. And if you're going to go into something that it really is just junk that doesn't have any upgrades, make sure you're working with an agent that's going to go in and make an offer appropriately based on the comparables for the neighborhood.
Okay. Well, that's a very good point. Be cautious. Listen to your agent. Look at more than one property. The best advice we can take. But the other good piece that I think about the old home, the existing home, is location. You don't have to drive by Wiley the Coyote to get to your house. You know, I mean, there are
take a helicopter to your house.
Yeah, get a helicopter. You know, there's no, you know, the closest shopping center is like a 10-minute drive or 5-minute drive, and I know. You know, lot size as well.
Right.
You know, you have
older lot sizes.
You got your lot sizes that they're just getting smaller and smaller with these new builds. What do you think, Jason, on that kind of stuff?
I mean, well, here's the thing about rehabbed properties also in general. They're kind of the angel of the area. And the reason for that is because they've typically bought from somebody who either does not want to participate in the regular real estate market, either for privacy or speed, say they're close to foreclosure.
Yeah.
Rehabber comes in, and what you don't realize is you analyze that property, but you don't see everything behind the walls.
Right.
So you're taking a risk every time you buy one of these rundown properties. It's often the eyesore of the neighborhood. So rehabber comes in, buys it at their risk, puts it, rehabs it, takes care of all the issues.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Right.
there are companies like Open Door, which they're a tech flipper.
Right.
And they're horrible.
Oh, they do a great job repainting, Jason. What are you talking about?
Oh, and that's about it. And they try to paint over everything, and you can see it. Like oh my God, they drive me nuts. So
they had a big lawsuit. So
good, they need it. They need quite a few of them. And so, but with a regular mom and pop rehabber, they always have usually have the best intentions. They take it, and not only do it's good for the county because they up the tax base. That property that was $300 is now being sold for $450, so it helps the tax base. It helps everyone's property values,
right?
Because it just set a new property value for the neighborhood, likely. And the person buying the property usually doesn't have that much extra money.
Yeah.
So what happens is you're effectively financing and rolling in all the repairs into the loan that you're getting a significant write-off from anyways. And also, real flippers are a very low percentage of the market. So a lot of times you'll hear this kind of nonsense where, flippers are driving up the pricing. They're 5 to 10% of the market.
Oh, they're making your neighborhood nice too. You have that eyesore you've been staring at across the street. Like we had one guy that had like 4 cars on one side of the driveway, never mowed his lawn, and then we have a dynamite house over here, and the flipping business will help that. And so we want to see that kind of stuff. We want to see the communities improve and take pride of ownership.
Right. And you stepped into a brand new house. I mean, usually it's young families that buy this. They don't have the time to repair it. They don't have the money. They don't, and so they just want to step into a nice, done situation.
Yeah. They don't have the skill set to go into that.
And by the way, as a rehabber, when you're dealing with contractors, you get a lower price.
Yeah.
Well, when you try to do the same thing as somebody who bought it, then your price for that contractor tends to fly through the roof,
right?
Yeah.
Because you're not doing multiple properties with that contractor. You're doing the one,
right?
So you're going to get retail price, whereas rehabbers usually get a smaller price,
right?
And so not only are you buying it, and then you're trying to get that equity, quote unquote. That equity disappears the second you pay retail for construction.
And you don't have to eat Cheerios with dust in it because you're in a construction
Especially
zone.
if you have kids flying around.
That's the worst. Right. Like you're thinking about buying a property and then you got to rehab it. That's not that sounds great. It's a great idea, but if you've ever lived in a construction loan, it sucks. It just straight
better
up
not have
sucks.
kids. Yep, better not have kids.
Yeah. So, well, that's good information. I appreciate that. Let's talk about the negotiating, and the one thing we're kind of leaving out too is the landscaping. Tell me about your negotiation. So just so everyone understands, Jessica here at Pro Mortgage and Realty, she is probably the toughest negotiator. She's getting, on average, she gets about 4 to 5% of credit from the seller every contract.
Dang.
So,
Good.
And that's first-time home buyer, 3.5% down, or our down payment, even our down payment assistance program, you're getting 3%. And so tell us a little bit about what you're seeing with the landscaping. You benefit from not having to do that, and the benefit of negotiating to an existing home versus a new home.
Well, I think that says it. I want to go look at the homes that are 1 year and 2 years old that already have a backyard, and now they have a job transfer, or they're military, or grandma's now living with them and they need a different home. That often gives us an opportunity that we won't have with the builder. So I want to make sure we see all of those. Even if you hate them all, that's okay. We have to make sure that we have that option available to you, so you know what's what, what the comparison is. And then secondarily, any of these homes, I go in. Oftentimes right now, I'm just going in at asking price. I'm seeing homes that have been on 60 days on the market. So I'm going in for the kill. Yeah. This last quarter, I clean up with buyers. I take listings that we need to sell. I don't take listings that we want to see if they can make a buck. I don't feel I'm serving them best during this last quarter. Last quarter, I'm out with buyers, and buyers, and we are out for the kill. So homes that have been on 60 days and longer, I'm coming for you.
Yeah,
like we come in and we are writing an aggressive offer. I'm getting 5 and 6% back. I need closing costs and I need a buy down.
Yeah, and this market too is about the first time we've seen in the market where you can actually get asking price.
Oh, right.
Where we were facing 3-4 years of above asking by $50,000-$60,000, even $100,000 in some cases. So we called one agent one time. We wanted to make an offer on a house, and they said they had over 110 offers. 110 offers.
Might be a little underpriced.
Those
I don't know. Sounds a little underpriced here.
No, that wasn't underpriced. It was just the market. It was what everyone wanted. RV parking, pool, 4 bedrooms, new open floor plan. Yep. Existing home actually, but that type of home flies off the shelves, and if you love it, it's likely someone else is going to love it, and it's likely someone else is willing to pay for that. Yep. So if you're thinking about waiting for rates to drop, well, you're going to live that situation all over again. We have tools in place like a temporary buy down, can lower your rate down to 3% lower than the 30-year fixed rate on average, or down to 2% or down to 1%. But there are options out here. So if you can't afford it, you don't think you can qualify. We've been doing loans for 25 years and real estate in this combined room over 75 years. So be sure to log on to promortgagerealty.com, visit our YouTube channel at Real Estate Profits with Purpose, or call 916-872-7177. We'll be back after this.
Hi, I'm Jessica Couch. When you're buying or selling your next home, work with an experienced team that knows the business, a local team that knows the market, and that has the skill set to take care of every single detail. We will get you top dollar if you're selling, and we'll help negotiate the best deal if you're buying, all without spending $1 out of your own pocket. Work with Pro Mortgage and Realty. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we cover those out-of-pocket expenses like inspections, appraisal, and help with your closing costs. It's our commitment to make your next real estate transaction easy and stress-free as possible. We're not all about business. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we've developed deep roots in the community. We've partnered with local nonprofits, and we give back. Come work with the team that's got your back. Call or text today. Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty, 916-532-8916. Or visit us at promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros.
NMLS 351319, DRE 01745667.
Sweet Dreams Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to glorify God by spreading peace, hope, and love to families with medically fragile babies and children. They offer dream bedrooms to children battling life-threatening illnesses, and their Ruse Baby program creates an atmosphere that will lift the spirit of the child, where they can laugh, play, and let their inner light shine. To learn more about the Sweet Dreams Foundation, visit sweet-dreams.org. When you work with Pro Mortgage and Realty, you're supporting the Sweet Dreams Foundation. Partner with Pro Mortgage and Realty today to buy or sell a home and help support the Sweet Dreams Foundation to help more children in our communities. Call or text Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty today at 916-532-8916. That's 916-532-8916. Or visit promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 351319 and DRE number 01745667.
Welcome back. We are your Real Estate Profits with Purpose. I'm your host, Ian Boshoff, here with Jessica Couch and Jason Schumacher. Just for people that have just logged on or come onto our show, we've been talking about whether you should buy a new construction or existing home, or even a flip. And so far, in my opinion, our consensus is an existing flip or an existing good condition home, because you don't get hit with supplemental, you don't get a small yard, you don't live in Africa, and not that Africa's bad, but
it's a little distant.
Yeah,
it's a little distant.
A little distant. And there's Melrose. So, granted, if you have the money and you love the new construction open floor plans, they are great. You can get a somewhat newer home that doesn't come with the price tag and the location and having you dump a bunch of money into those lots. So anyway, we've been talking about how do you afford this stuff, right? Rates have doubled. You know, that we're at the highest interest rate level in 22 years, I was reading. So I myself do loans for a living. I've been doing that since 1998. We do all types of loans. We do renovation loans. We do FHA 203K loans. I've done a couple with you, Jessica.
Done some rehabs, yeah.
Yeah, we've done some, fix up to sell type loans. We've done jumbo, FHA, VA, down payment assistance. There's this thing called DSCR, which you don't show income, and you purchase an investment property if you already own a primary. You don't need anything but basically an appraisal and an application.
A performing asset.
Yeah, and basically they'll take a look and see what that income-producing property will rent out for, and that's how they qualify the property. Sure, those interest rates are a little bit higher, but you're not paying money to the IRS. So that's why. This money's backed by the government-sponsored entities. These types of loans are backed by Wall Street money. So there are other loans out there, such as a no ratio, meaning that you don't have to show income on an owner-occupied property with 20% down. You can do a cash-out refinance up to 80% loan-to-value with no reserves. So there are some products out there. If you have any questions about them, be sure to log on to promortgagerealty.com. We'll be happy to answer them. But I want to get into this. This is what's huge. This is the biggest news since sliced bread. This is the Twinkie of the era of bread. This is the 2-1, the 3-2-1, or the 1-1 buy down, a temporary buy down. Jessica, you sell this thing all the time.
Yeah, I'm hot on the 2-1. I would love more info on this 3-1.
3-2-1 is just the same thing, but here it's as simple as this. You get an interest rate of 7.25%, let's say.
Okay.
Or let's just say 7%. For round math.
Okay.
A 3-2-1 means that your interest rate it's a 30-year fixed product, first of all, right? 30-year fixed.
That's important.
You still have to income qualify based on the 7%, right?
Okay.
So once you income qualify for the 7%, your interest rate will be 3% lower than the 7% for the entire year one.
Okay.
Okay. So is everyone with me so far? We have 4%, right, is your interest rate for the first year.
Okay.
5% is your interest rate for the second year. 6% is your interest rate for the third year. 7% and every year for the remaining of 26 years is your interest rate until you choose to refinance. So the market is going to come down. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Once we're in our recession and we've cleared it out, average recession 22 months, we're going to be out of it. They have to lower interest rates to spark the economy to get out of a recession.
And what's going to happen when the interest rates drop?
Well, everyone and their mother's going to refinance, and house prices are going to go up.
Explode.
Yeah, they're going to
go nuts.
Yeah,
maybe like 2020.
It's going to be insanity. So if you're thinking I'm waiting till rates drop, well, you're going to miss a boat. You're going to miss a boat, and we are not just saying this. This is everyone and their mother is saying this, and this is the truth. And so if you've been thinking that you don't qualify, if you think your credit's shot, we're doing a loan right now with a 580 FICO score. If you think you've got debt with the IRS, get into a payment plan. You need 3 payments. That's all we need, an installment agreement. We add that to your debt to income ratio. But that's people try to qualify themselves when they don't do this for a living.
Right.
So it's very important that you speak to a professional or log on to our show, Real Estate Profits with Purpose, through YouTube, and you can get our information there. So let's give an example of payment on this 3-2-1. There's also a 2-1 buy down. The only difference is cost, and you want the seller to pay for it when you're negotiating, right? And
I get the seller to pay for it.
Yes, lender pay.
Jessica gets the seller to pay for it every day. And so if we go do a 3-2-1 buy down, and you're buying something at $600,000, you're putting 3.5% down. Your interest rate 6.75, right?
Okay.
Your total payment with taxes and insurance is $4,724 for a $600,000 house, 3.5% down.
Okay.
Almost $5,000. Okay. For year one at 3.75, your total out the door payment is over $1,100 cheaper at $3,631.
Dang.
Okay.
That's a chunk.
Second year, $3,976. You're still $800 cheaper.
Yeah, under 4.
Third year, $4,341. Not much to write home to mom about, but about $400.
Right.
A kick in the butt. Yeah.
And then the 5th year, rates are down, you refinance.
Or before that.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, or before that. That cost the seller $26,000. That's a 4.447% credit that they need to apply towards the concession to the buyer.
Which
So
you're able to get these days.
you are.
That's
Right.
the thing.
Yeah.
And what Jessica was just
With
talking
FHA.
about.
With FHA, you
Yep.
can, and if you got 20% down on conventional loan, if you're doing 20% down, you can get up to 6%. You're cut off at 3% on conventional, under 20% down, and on FHA 6 and VA 6.
But sellers are willing to budge. Is
They
more
are.
my point. Is
They are.
You know, especially with some of the housing stocks sitting 30,
Right.
60 days.
Yeah.
Someone like Jessica, like me, will go right in and immediately hammer you for the credit for that.
Yeah.
It's much easier to do that right now.
Right.
That's the funny position. And so you'll actually get more wiggle room with the seller and a better price. And then the second interest rates improve, your price is locked in while all of your neighbors skyrocket, and you can lower your rate, so you lower your payment down to
Right.
something much better in the first place.
Yeah, that's legitimate.
Great time to buy.
It's a great time. Well, let's go over $789 purchase price. We have 6.75% interest rate, 3.5% down. Payment on a $789 purchase price, $6,183.
That's a chunk.
$6,183. Okay, and
That
this
jumbo?
is
Is this jumbo?
no, that's conforming. And so you're looking at, I mean, it's a $789 purchase price. That's the top on an FHA with 3.5% down. So you're looking at your first year 3.75. Your payment would be $61.83, but with the buy down, the 321, $47.46. Second
more
year,
doable.
50.
1 or 2 Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, one,
Yeah, 1 or 2 Starbucks. That's
Go to
good.
Starbucks. You get a big drink. You put gold in that drink. But if you got 47.46 year 1, 5,200 year 2, and 56.80 year 3. So there is the 2-1 buy down. It is a realistic one. It's one we've been doing a lot. But the 3-2-1 I think is coming up as a hot streak. I think we should start implementing.
Yeah.
So-
Especially with FHA.
Yeah. How do they get a hold of you, Jessica?
916-532-8916. And I would say if you're not shopping, you're just sort of thinking about this, it's time to shop.
Yeah.
You can't make a decision until you're out there seeing these homes. So get in the car with your agent, go see homes so you know what your options are.
Absolutely. Well, and there's some people out there that are looking to get pre-qualified, or they're not sure if they've got the right agent. I've seen this a lot where they can't get in contract. I'm working with some pre-approved buyers that have been looking for 6 months, and they're doing down payment assistance. But you need to reach out. If something's not working, you got to change your approach. So log on to promortgagerealty.com. We've got the Shepherd Group. We've got the Running Realtors, and they really know what they're doing. Is there anything else that you'd like to touch on, Jason?
Yes.
Okay.
There's actually one thing, and it's a question for you.
Yep. I like questions.
Yeah. Well, there's I'll run into clients a lot who and actually other realtors who are confused about the 2-1 buy down versus interest only loan that was given popularly in 2008.
Okay.
What is the difference?
Well, so there's the
two.
option arm that used to that had 4 options of payments. I think
Pick
that
a
may
pay.
be it.
Yep.
Yeah, and so the option arm was a deferred interest payment of 1.95%, and it was almost structured like a reverse. And then there was the interest only payment. Then there was the principal and interest payment. Then there was above, which no one ever did. Right. And so it was designed to basically be like a credit card where you paid a minimum payment and your balance just keeps going up. And that coupled with the types of loans that were given as stated and just crashed our market. Lehman Brothers happened, and I remember the banks just dropped like flies. But it is nothing like that. Those loans can't exist. And so if you have questions about any other loans that are here, we do them all. If you need a good agent, we do them all. And thank you for listening to Real Estate Profits. Again, if you call our show and you want to do business with us, 10% of our profit goes to Sweet Dreams Foundation and the Operation Underground Railroad. Be sure to log on to Yeah, they're awesome. So promortgagerealty.com. Follow us on YouTube at the Real Estate Profits with Purpose. And it's good talking to you.
Thank you for having us here.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.